as we await our official launch tomorrow, I thought I'd release a little bit of a bonus, a teaser of how our content's going to be like. So today we're doing another edition of the chart pack, and this is for episode 7. And if you aren't already familiar with what you need to do for this episode, head on over to quantiumresearch.co.uk. Yes, that is right, quantiumresearch.co.uk. And click on the chart pack section in the right hand side of the toolbar for our website. And all you need to do after that is click the chart pack for the relevant episode. So today's will be labeled as episode 7. You can pause for a couple of seconds here just to get that ready and then restart the episode. Okay, so starting with section 1. We're obviously looking at on the beach as labeled, but this particular chart is having a daily look at the price action. At the moment, I'm looking to see if the price can establish a support around the 300 pence per share level. There could be a setup for a long, as I've mentioned in the chart pack, towards the top green trend channel line, which is around the range of 475 to 500, if not probably in between there. But if you have a bias for a short side setup, then you can look for a retest of either the 50-day moving average, which is the cyan or blue line, whatever you'd like to call it, and then potentially short from that level. Or if the price retests the 200 SMA as is shown by the purple line, it really doesn't matter. My idea on this is whichever is nearest to the price, either the 50 DMA or the 200 SMA, at the time where a touch would occur, you would follow on for an initial target of 350 pence per share. And if obviously that were to break down, you target the lower green trend channel line. And that stands at about 300 pence per share right now. But we'll look at this a little bit more in chart 1.2, where we're going to move on to right now. And chart 1.2 specifically shows a look at the 15-minute candlestick time frame, where the 200 SMA for this time frame is decreasing, and it's also falling alongside the 50 MA. And the stock is also nearing a retest of the 50 MA. And I believe if it is broken, you could target a long towards the 200 SMA, which at the moment is about 450 pence per share, but that is decreasing. So you have to follow through on where the actual 200 SMA is at the time of your exit or at the time of your desired position entry. The RSI actually is in relatively neutral territory at about 48 in this 15-minute time frame, as I've mentioned. And if the stock in fact fails to break above the 50 MA and say it continues to decline, a first target for a level of support would be around 340 pence per share. And if that doesn't hold, then target a further close towards 300 pence per share. And I've emphasized in the chart pack that you should be paying attention to tighter time frames such as 5-minute and even 1-minute candles, but also the position of the moving averages at the time of your intention to close. So for example, right now on chart 1.2, the 50 MA is about 400 pence per share, and the 200 SMA is at about 450 pence per share. But as they're decreasing, they will likely be at lower levels when it comes to the moment where you either would like to open a position, say a couple of days after this podcast is out, or the moment where you would like to close your position. And maybe the levels are even higher than here. It doesn't matter. You just have to look at everything in the moment. And this has been a really brief podcast, but just before we finish, I think there's one part I haven't covered. On the daily, back in chart 1.1, we didn't have a look at the RSI, the relative strength index, and it shows that the stock is fairly oversold, but it hasn't quite got into the sub 20 range where we'd look to evaluate a position that is oversold. At the moment, it is relatively oversold. It's obviously weighted on that side, but if we look at the 15-minute candles, it looks relatively neutral, 48 on chart 1.2. But nevertheless, that has been a short edition of the Quantium Cast in our chart pack bonus series. Stay tuned for our launch tomorrow on Monday the 12th of August. We hope this episode has been of value to you. I've been your host Ryan Kia. Until next time.